Well, Jim, we're recording right now. There's still 6 minutes and 11 seconds left, but I think it's safe to say that this is why everybody picked the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl. This is the Go Long Podcast. I'm Tyler Dunn here with Jim Monis. A curb stomping of epic proportions when it comes to week one of the NFL season for a marquee game like this. I mean, the hype. I guess this first game's always hyped, but this one especially. I mean, I think everybody expected most people, not you. You had a good feeling about
No,
this,
no, 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 no.
but
no, no.
a good game, a high scoring game. Defending champs. I mean, the defending champs just were embarrassed. They were punked. The Rams looked like shit. I mean, in every phase of the game. But I think more than that, it's what the Buffalo Bills did. I mean, the Bills were utterly dominant. So I at a loss for words as we hit record here. But what is your immediate reaction as this game kind of
My
grinds to
my
a head?
17 years of NFL experience. This is why you hire me and help, with the podcast for my great analysis on this game. I don't even know what to say other than this is what a Super Bowl team looks like. I mean, I don't know what do you want? I can't give you. I mean, anybody that likes football can appreciate this. This team is loaded every single phase. Loaded.
What little sequence I liked more? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Jim.
No, I love the way that D-line was pushing those guys around tonight. I mean, there's no weaknesses right now. How about Espinenza? I was thinking that was the one guy maybe I've never really seen do anything. I thought he caused that last throw to be a little high on, that little bull rush he had got in Stafford's way. I mean, it's every guy is contributing right now. Everyone. Von Miller,
Jordan Phillips.
I think I talked about that before. We almost, we were debating. It was between him and Darby for that pick that year. Rex loved both of them. He loved Jordan Phillips, and we did too. We just, we were just excited about Darby as a corner, but they're complete. They're just complete. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what else I could talk about with Buffalo this year. They're complete. How about the running backs? How hard did they run?
I was just gonna say. I mean, I think what
love the way
impressed me most was, like that sequence there when it was still kind of a game, right? Maybe it was leading up to the Isaiah McKenzie touchdown, but I mean, you've got Josh Allen's stiff arm, which is what we're all going to be seeing all week.
Nasty.
But then Devin Singletary just unloads into a tackler. I mean, he just kind of throws himself, uproots him from the ground. Those kind of plays, not that they were necessarily lacking, but you didn't see it consistently these last 2 years. I mean, these last two Bills teams, you look at the numbers, it's historic stuff in team history, the points, the yards, Josh Allen's second MVP voting in 2020, but those kind of plays, physical running by Zach Moss too. I think that maybe I think that's kind of what gives you the long-term hope most out of this game is that this looked like a team that can win.
This was dominant.
In January and February.
This was dominant. They should have been up more at halftime.
Oh yeah.
I took them in the first half. One of my bets lost. That was like the only bet I lost on the game, but they were dumb. They should have been up 14 at halftime.
Yeah.
But
right.
That was complete dominance.
Totally.
What do you want to say? It's like, what do you want to say? Crowder. How about the mix of Crowder and McKenzie and the way they fit them in and the play calling? The offense was like, it was nonstop. It was boom, boom, boom. They were so in sync. They looked like a tune. It was just, you can't look any better. I mean, when I say that, and I said they should have been up 14 at half. I mean, they had a couple of things they'll want to clean up. I mean, the turnovers and you want to clean that up, but they weren't terrible plays. They weren't like, That McKenzie interception was tough. I mean, that wasn't easy.
We'll grill his ass tomorrow at the show.
I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, I think that's a tricky. I'm saying that's a tricky play. So I mean, that's as bad as it gets. Like it takes kind of a play
that just
like
goes
that.
to show like the margin for error on this team and this offense. It's gonna be low. I mean, they're gonna hold themselves to the highest of high standards with the way that they can just move the ball at
they're gonna
complete will.
Yep.
The only thing that will stop the Bills is the Bills, really.
I think you're right.
Look like.
I think we can say that. I think so. Turnovers, penalties, whatever football, we always just say it's football sometimes. Football, you can't explain it. That's fine tuned. I thought the corners were outstanding. Defense looked fast. I don't know. I mean, it was everybody.
When you watch a Buffalo Bills game too, and I think that this really kicked in the last time they played the Rams, 2020, COVID year, no fans in the stands, but like you just kind of knew that in this type of game, the Bills are going to do whatever they want on offense. They're going to move at their pace, their sequence of plays, get the weapons that they want and the specific matchups they want, and that's what you saw out there. But I think what is most encouraging, even maybe more than those moments of physicality from Moss, from Singletary, from Allen, Ken Dorsey, right? I think you lose Brian Daboll to the New York Giants, and that's the one question, the one big question mark with this team is, and even Jordan Palmer, when we talked about it for the story we have up today at Go Along TD, it's I think that he was cautiously optimistic because he's a big Daboll guy. He knows that it's not just play design, it's play calling, and it's setting things up. It's getting into a rhythm, and you don't really know how you're going to be as a play caller until you get in that moment. Ken Dorsey, he's been around this offense, around this quarterback, but he hasn't called plays, and that was about as in sync, in rhythm, just up in the booth, calling the shots, like the dork that he was at the U, as Jordan Palmer said, surrounded by everybody and those crazy teams. Right. Just a mad scientist up there. I mean, he had the Rams on the ropes. They had zero answers. It didn't matter that they had Aaron Donald, that they had Bobby Wagner, that they had Jalen Ramsey. They were embarrassed, and I think this was a Dorsey game, really. I mean, he proved he's going to put these players in the position to win. And they're going to. He's too talented.
Jalen Ramsey enters those. You know how those great shot blockers in basketball. There was always that fine line between being a great shot blocker and getting dunked on a lot. And Jalen Ramsey, like he does make some plays, but man, he gets beat a lot. And I'm not trying to say he's not like a talented player. I'm not trying to like say anything like that. I'm just saying something that there is something consistent there with him. I mean, it shows up every year where he gets beat. But
we always come back to the theme of this being a game of inches and legacies being defined on.
Oh yeah.
It can tilt one way or another. The interception that wasn't the NFC title game, right? Stafford throws it right to Tart's hands. But
I can't. I mean,
Jalen Ramsey, Super Bowl, last play of the game. I mean, he falls down. Jamar Chase is wide open. If Aaron Donald doesn't get home, Jalen Ramsey. That's we're talking about that. That defines him, right? The richest cornerback in the game gets absolutely burnt on 4th and short in the Super Bowl. So yeah, you're right. And the Bills, they caught him. They caught him deep to Diggs. Diggs got right in his face. You got to love that. And he plays off of that energy. I think that was his agent in the corner too. I think that was Adisa celebrating with him. So everybody was having fun out there.
No doubt. It is locked and loaded. It's unbelievable. It seriously is unbelievable what they have put together. I mean, with the greatest possible talented quarterback. I was thinking about, we talk about who we miss on in drafts all the time, right? That's kind of like the biggest topic. How did nobody take a chance on Josh Allen? Like, I'm talking like, does Alabama look back on how they were scouting that region or those schools and say, hey, why did we know about, or why did we not think he had a chance? Because usually Division I schools, that type of physical, just off the physical skill set alone, you get an offer. How does he end up at Wyoming? How does nobody, I would love to hear any of those colleges, like who was recruiting him, the ones that missed on him, or the ones that didn't go after him. I would love to hear how that goes down, because he's arguably the most talented quarterback in the NFL. Like,
It's hard to even argue with Jordan
I don't
Palmer when he
know.
says the most physically talented quarterback ever. And
Yeah,
it sounds
I
crazy
wouldn't
when you
argue
hear
that.
that at first,
Yeah,
but then
no,
when
I
you
wouldn't
really
argue it. I know what he
combine
means.
everything, I mean, yeah, to answer your question, right? I mean, he went to community college.
Yeah,
He's just, Fireball, California. Um,
it's just crazy to me to think that. I don't know. I'd love to hear more about that. Those recruiting.
yeah, I was trying to find his rankings here while we're talking, but I mean, I think he was just that unbelievably raw, and he just never
Yeah,
was trained. He
it's
wasn't trained
true.
like a lot of these 7-on-7 guys, and maybe that ended
No,
up
it's
helping
true. I
him
mean,
that he
I
wasn't like
yeah,
made a robot at a young age. He wasn't just
yeah,
thrown into these camps and
right.
these systems Darnold probably was that, right? I mean, he kind of was big and
That's a
strong
good.
and
I
athletic,
like that. I like that.
uh, and so he had all these gifts at Wyoming, and some teams were intrigued by it. Some teams wrote him off, but then he's a throwback. I feel like he's a throwback to the days of developing quarterbacks, and it's okay if it takes a couple years to get a guy going because he spent the time with Palmer, spent the time with Dayball. Brandon Beane just has given him everything that he needs. Um, that was interesting when Jordan Palmer said he calls that the best tandem in the NFL. Beane and Allen, like Allen getting what he needs from Beane year in and year out. It started way back
How,
with
there's no way you could
John
argue
Brown
it.
and Cole Beasley to the Big Diggs move to Gabe
It's
Davis to tweaking it today.
they replace with the same. He's right. They just replace the skill set. The size. It's similar guys. They know what they want for each position on the field. Yeah, it's a machine.
And you know what's going to get better with time? It's that relationship with Diggs because it was so
Oh,
good so fast that we, and I know they got together at Pete Bomarito's down there during COVID, and I think that helped them gain a
yeah.
little chemistry. But the time tested reps where you could see it out there tonight, those back shoulder throws, seeing the same thing out there, the timing. There's that back shoulder throw on the left sideline where
What?
I mean, he plants his foot, the ball is there. Everybody on the Bills sideline loses their minds because it's just that rhythmic. That's something that's going to keep growing. I mean, we talk a lot about Aaron Rodgers, and what he had with Devontae Adams, what he had with Jordy Nelson before that. It's that telepathic,
Yeah,
connection
no
where
doubt.
you see the same thing, you're thinking the same way, your footwork's in line with his footwork, and it's just beautiful to watch.
It's
They couldn't
beautiful.
have that in 2020. They could, 2021 it was a little better, but that's going to
Hmm.
age well, which it has to as Diggs kind of gets a little slower. But that's why you pay Diggs that money to keep him, and that's still the bread and butter of this pass game.
Think about this. I wanted to mention this with Dorsey tonight. Didn't we talk a lot last year kind of about it? It seemed like the Bills lost a little bit of that down the field, the big chunk throws, like it wasn't coming as easy to that offense last year. Remember, they went through that stretch where they were really fighting.
Yeah,
This looked,
Jacksonville.
this looked like, this looked like the Bills offense that is just, that's the mix of everything, the tough runs, the short passing game, the way they were getting rid of the ball quick, the shots down the field, guys are wide open. He's running around. Do you think he was running too much? Is that
Mm.
something that's going to get talked about? He took
Yeah, I
some
was dead
hits.
wrong.
He does take some hits. He takes some hits,
I thought that was
but I'm
something
not
they'd
saying
save.
anything.
I thought it's something they would save for December and January. They kind of
Tyler, I don't know what, yeah.
we're nitpicking, obviously, but I mean, yeah, but you want to keep him healthy. He's so good. He's so talented. The designed runs, you got to pick and choose a little bit when you're up by 3 touchdowns.
They have to talk about it. He's so big, and it's hard to think anything's going to happen to him. But you never know. But that's football. You can't get. I mean,
yeah, but you run the risk too, where it could be 6, 7 years from now. You look at Cam Newton and how unstoppable he was in 2015.
Yeah.
I mean,
no,
that season that he had was it was unbelievable. I mean, that's what made the Super Bowl that shocking that Denver won. I mean, Cam Newton was just absolutely tearing through the NFL, and then it just, poof. A couple years later, he just, even the next year, he wasn't the same guy. Warren Moon thinks it's because they kind of beat him down. That those hits kind of accumulated over time.
You got
to be careful when he's that talented. I mean, Josh Allen is special. You don't want to risk it too. And I'm with you. Like, I don't think you want to neuter that from his game because he's 6'5", 250, rolling downhill, stiff arming. Like, you don't want to tell that player not to do that. But they're gonna have to pick their spots because
just let me know when the playoffs start. Seriously, this is like they just need to find a way to stay healthy, get home field.
That's the thing, right? Like, you just don't want to blow your load here too early in the season.
Well, you got to win a lot of games to get home field.
Yeah,
I will say that, and you want to do it, set the tone, and then. Well, we'll talk about that later, but it's just, to me, you see a performance like that. That's a real, we're talking about the Rams. This isn't some, to make them look that bad.
I think that psychologically it's such a win for the Bills because
I agree.
It's crazy to look at these national predictions and everybody's picking the Bills. Everybody. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's silly. The Athletic, ESPN, NFL Network. Yep. It seems, I don't know what the final tally was, but it feels like 75% of people are picking the Bills to win the Super Bowl. And then in Vegas, you've seen the numbers.
I was telling you, yeah.
I'm gonna pull it up here while we're talking.
They said it's crazy. It's the most bet on team they've ever had to win a Super Bowl.
So this is per Caesar Sportsbook. The Bills have received more than twice as much money to win the Super Bowl than every other team. 4 times as much money than 22 teams, 10 times as much money than 12 teams. So, like, you can't play that underdog role. You can't stand in the middle of a locker room and say, "Oh, they counted us out, man." Like, that flies out the window. Like that. That card doesn't work. Like, but when we use the term Super Bowl or bust, it's not in a derogatory way, in a negative way. It's just operate as the bully, operate as the badass team that's gonna, kick your ass, and then when you're down, keep kicking you. Like, that's what the Bills have to do.
Yeah, just accept it.
Just be the aggressor. Like, embrace it, right?
Embrace it. It's why you're in the sport. It's the window. You're in the window. You know it. Take it. It's a great, great feeling. I used to love it when I was working for the Saints. I loved it. I knew every year we had a chance. Mm-hmm. Like, it makes it so fun to go to work.
This team reminds me of the '96 Packers in a way too, where
I love that.
We both grew up watching. I
love it. I love that comparison.
They were the favorite.
They love each other. This team loves each other.
That too. Oh yeah, the camaraderie is huge.
Oh, I thought that's what you were saying, because I always thought that Packer team seemed like you probably know more. I mean, I don't know they just always seem to have good chemistry.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, talking to them more years later, Leroy Butler, Antonio Freeman, Brett Favre, but the pressure. I mean, that was the 95 team made it to the NFC Championship game, lost to Dallas, but Brett Favre was the MVP. Brett Favre goes through his rehab stuff. He comes out of rehab. He has a press conference, and he uses the words that you're not going to hear out of Buffalo probably, but he says it's Super Bowl or bust. Like, he comes out and says it. They're on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
That's right.
Predicted to win it all, and what did they do? They went out at the start of the season. I believe they played Tampa Bay in the first game. I bet it meant 30. This is gonna be interesting. I want to say it was 34-3. We're gonna pull it up, but they came out of the chute just demolishing teams. I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't even close. Like offense, defense, completely dominant, and
Completely dominant.
they
I
leaned
like that
into that.
comparison.
And that's not to say that the Bills are going to be able to beat every single team 31-10, because that Green Bay, I mean, there's another perfect example, because Green Bay later in the season, they start losing all their receivers. Freeman breaks his arm. Robert Brooks tears his ACL. They're down to like Terry Mickens and Don Beebe, and they pick up Andre Rison late in the season. So the Bills are going to face adversity. It's going to happen.
No question. I was just going to say that. We all know it's a week-to-week league. And I'm sitting there. The only thing I'm saying is it's week to week. And yeah, there's going to be things, but this team is built and capable of winning the Super Bowl. No question about it.
It was 34-3.
You called that. Yeah, that's a good call right out of the gate.
And then that's right. Monday night against the Eagles, 39-13. San Diego, 42-10. They fell to Minnesota because they could never win at Minnesota. Then back to 31-10, 37-6. They were killing teams early on, but then they kind of hit the injuries. So that's going to be the question for the Bills. Something will go wrong.
It's something. It's always going to be something. But
and in a weird way, I mean, going through crushing playoff losses, it can help you. I mean, you saw it with the Saints banging on that door and coming up short. It can callous you for that adversity, for those tough times too. I don't know what it's going to be, but I mean, we do know the Bills are Super Bowl contenders, Super Bowl favorites for a reason. You watch Josh Allen, and don't you just think, like, why doesn't every team just try to find like a big, strong, athletic freak, put him at quarterback, let him do whatever he wants? Like, if I'm the 49ers with Trey Lance and I'm watching this, I'm not overthinking stuff. I'm just unleashing Trey Lance in every way and hoping for the best.
Agreed. St. Justin Fields, all that.
Yeah. All these guys. Don't overthink it. Just
stop overthinking it. Let these guys do what they do. They were champions. Like, these guys were champions in college. They know how to, don't hold them back.
Great point there too. Ken Dorsey was a champion in college. Ken Dorsey's been in big time moments, big time games. Where that's going to mean something,
He'll be on that next list now. That's a done deal. It might be just from this game.
There's probably some teams thinking, oh shit, we should have just named him our head coach or done something here.
We'll see how Dable does with Daniel Jones to see if it's the coach or the quarterback.
Man, well, we definitely are going to get into the whole NFL on the next episode of the pod, but as we mentioned before, all season long, Fatty Beer Company, Orchard Park, New York. They've got places all over the place. We're psyched that they are our new host. So we're going to be there once a week, but out of the games, a little different with the Thursday game. But each week, once we get into a rhythm, we'll have, a medium length podcast just on the Bills, full length on the NFL. And then later in the week is when we're going to get to Fatty and hang out with whoever wants to hang out with us. We've got some great guests lined up. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, Jim, I forgot to tell you, you're a genius as well for predicting the Los Angeles Rams demise. It's 1 week. Let's not overreact.
I'm not saying anything yet.
You did have them as a disappointing team in our go long predictions, and I don't think they made your playoffs either.
I had some fun with that.
Yeah, check out our predictions and let us know what you think. A lot of stories up. Vikings, Darius Smith, Josh Allen, Bob's Packers series is off and running. Jim's stuff is going to start next week. It's going to be fun, man. I can't wait. All right. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Appreciate you.